Welcome to this deep dive.
Okay.
Today, we're tackling this whole starting with why concept.
Okay.
You know, it's
Yeah.
really everywhere right now,
Right.
especially on TikTok.
Yeah. It's definitely having a moment.
It is.
Yeah.
So you've sent over a ton of great material for this one.
Oh, good.
We've got excerpts from Simon Sinek's book,
Okay.
Start with Why.
Yeah.
A transcript of his, really famous TED Talk.
Right.
And even some clips from a tech event he spoke at.
Cool.
So our mission today is to,
Okay.
see if this why thing really lives up to all the hype.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely more than just hype, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some really interesting psychology and communication theory behind all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how Sinek kind of ties it all together.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so one of the first things Sinek introduces is this idea of the golden circle.
Okay.
And it's basically this framework for
Right.
thinking, acting, and communicating.
I see.
And it's made up of these three rings: why, how, and what.
Okay.
And what's so fascinating is that he says that, most of us,
Right.
we communicate from the outside in.
Right.
We start with that what?
Yeah. The clearest thing.
Yeah, the clearest, most tangible thing.
Right. Exactly.
Then maybe we go to the how.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the why,
Right.
we kind of,
That gets fuzzy.
it's fuzzy, we get stuck. We don't even know how to talk about it.
Right. Exactly.
But Sinek says that those truly inspiring leaders and companies,
Uh-huh.
they flip the script.
Okay.
They go from the inside out.
Interesting.
They start with their why.
Yeah, like with Apple, right?
Right.
They don't just say, "Hey, we make computers or we
Right.
make phones."
Right. Yeah.
It's like
It's a feeling.
it's about challenging the status quo,
Yeah.
thinking differently.
Right.
Their products are kind of like proof of their why.
I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they're not just selling you a computer.
Right.
They're inviting you to join this tribe. To
Exactly.
be a part of a movement
Yeah.
that believes in pushing boundaries.
Yeah. And that idea of tapping into a belief system is so powerful.
It is.
I mean, that's why we see some brands that get like this cult-like following.
Right.
People aren't just buying a product.
Right.
They're buying into this set of values that they identify with.
Yeah, like I'm thinking of like Harley Davidson, right?
Right.
The people that are like tattooing that logo on themselves,
I get
they're not just fans of motorcycles.
Well-
It's a whole identity.
like they're aligning themselves with the whole lifestyle.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think about the brands I'm like fiercely loyal to.
Uh-huh.
And it's true. It's not just their product.
Yeah.
It's their whole philosophy, their vision, that whole thing.
It's like they're buying into a story,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And this kind of leads us to another interesting point that Sinek makes, which is he connects this whole starting with why to biology,
Okay.
specifically the limbic brain.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell me more about this limbic brain connection.
All right. So the limbic brain is this part of our brain
Okay.
that controls our decision-making and our feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't process language.
Mm.
Think about it this way. Like,
Okay.
you often get that gut feeling about something
Right.
before you can even explain why you feel that way.
Yes.
That's your limbic brain.
oh.
Work.
So you're saying like my emotions
Yeah.
are driving my decisions,
A lot of the time. Yeah,
even when I think I'm being, Mr. Logic.
exactly. Companies know this, right?
Right.
Think about all those like
Oh yeah.
heartwarming commercials you see
Uh-huh.
that make you want to go hug your family,
Right.
or those like aspirational ads
Right.
that make you feel like you can conquer the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're tapping into your emotions.
Wow. So I'm just being manipulated by my emotions when I buy things.
Well, manipulated might be a strong word,
Okay.
but they're definitely using an understanding of psychology to kind of connect with you
Okay.
on this deeper level.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, and Sinek argues,
Okay.
when they do this effectively,
Right.
by aligning their message with this genuine why that resonates with you,
Okay.
it can actually be a positive thing,
Okay.
you know?
So it's like not all manipulation is bad.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
It's about, like, are they manipulating you towards something that's actually going to benefit you?
Okay.
Or are they just trying to take your money?
Right.
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 Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, Sinek, he uses this great example to illustrate this whole limbic brain thing,
Oh, okay.
the babysitter example.
Oh, yeah.
And this really hit home for me.
Yeah.
Imagine you need a babysitter, right?
Okay.
You've got two options.
Right.
You've got a teenager
Mm-hmm.
from your neighborhood.
Who's maybe new to babysitting,
Okay.
or you've got a seasoned pro
Yeah.
that you've never met before.
Right.
who do you trust with your kids?
I mean, I think most people would go with a teenager.
You would, right?
Yeah, even though they have less experience.
Right. It's about that gut feeling of
Exactly.
Zach's.
Yeah, you're not making a purely rational decision based on experience.
Right. It's your limbic brain.
Exactly. It's saying, hey, this person's part of my community,
Right.
my tribe. I can trust them.
Right.
And Sinek argues that this same instinct,
Okay.
this need to belong, to trust,
Uh,
this drives our decisions as consumers.
Okay.
And as employees,
Right.
we're drawn to companies and leaders that share our values,
Uh-huh.
that make us feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
You know?
So it's not just about, like
All right.
listing features and benefits.
No, it's about building a sense of belonging,
Yeah.
shared values,
Yeah.
a community.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
It's almost like a social movement,
Yeah,
but for a brand or a company.
it's a great analogy.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
And this brings us to another really cool concept that he introduces,
Oh, okay.
which is the law of diffusion of innovations.
All right. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this law of diffusion.
Okay, so this law basically explains how ideas spread through a population.
Correct.
Think of it like a bell curve,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
At the very beginning, you have your innovators.
Okay.
Those people who are always the first to try new things.
Right.
They just trust their gut.
Yeah, their intuition.
Yeah, their intuition.
Mhm.
Sinek calls them like the people with the red hats.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily swayed by,
Logic.
logic or evidence.
Uh-huh.
They're just driven by belief in this idea.
Yeah, the potential.
The potential, yeah.
They see it before anyone else.
Yeah.
The early adopters.
Exactly.
And you have your early majority
Right.
who need to see some social proof before they jump on board.
The more pragmatic folks.
The more pragmatic people, yeah.
Yeah.
So to achieve, like
Mass market success.
mass market success,
Right, yeah.
you need to reach that tipping point
Yes.
where enough people have adopted the idea
Right.
that it starts to gain mainstream acceptance.
Exactly.
And Sinek argues that those first few adopters,
Okay.
those people with the red hats, they're key.
Yeah, they create the momentum.
They're the ones that create the momentum.
They get the ball rolling.
They inspire others to follow.
Right. But they're not going to be swayed by facts and figures alone.
No, they need to be inspired by the why.
The why, exactly.
So companies need to focus on attracting those early adopters.
Right.
Those people who were driven by belief and purpose,
Belief and purpose, yeah.
rather than trying to appeal to the masses right out of the gate.
Yeah, start small.
Start small.
Build that momentum.
Build the movement.
So I'm seeing how this all ties together.
Hmm.
It's not just about having a good product or service.
Hmm.
It's about connecting with people on a deeper level.
Right.
It's about tapping into their emotions, their aspirations,
Yeah.
making them feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
It's powerful stuff.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
But what happens when a company loses sight of its why?
Oh, that's a great question.
Sinek mentions this thing called the split.
Yeah, the split.
And I feel like that needs a little more explanation.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like that needs a little more explanation.
Okay, so the split is basically what happens
Okay.
when a company's actions
Uh-huh.
become disconnected from its original why.
Okay.
And this often happens as companies grow.
Right.
They become more focused on processes, systems, metrics, all of that.
Right.
And the original passion, the driving force
Yeah.
behind the company's founding,
Yeah.
it kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
Right. And I bet we can think of a few companies
Oh, I'm sure.
that have fallen into that trap.
Oh, yeah?
Companies that used to be innovative,
Exciting.
exciting,
Yeah.
but now they feel stale,
Out of touch.
out of touch.
Yeah.
Maybe their product's still good,
Right.
but you don't get that sense of excitement,
No.
that feeling that they stand for something
Yeah, that deeper purpose.
bigger than just making money.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what Sinek is warning against, right?
Yes.
He believes that starting with why isn't just a one-time thing.
Uh-huh.
It's an ongoing process.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
You got to keep coming back to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Companies need to constantly remind themselves
Yes.
of their purpose.
Their reason for being.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's reflected.
In everything they do.
In everything they do, exactly.
So how can a company avoid the split?
Good question.
It seems so easy to lose sight of your why as you grow
It does. It does.
and as you get more complex.
Yeah. But Sinek offers a few suggestions.
All right.
First, he emphasizes the importance of leadership.
Okay.
Leaders need to be the champions of the why.
Uh-huh.
They need to articulate it clearly,
Right.
embody it in their own actions.
So it's not enough to just, have a mission statement on the wall.
No, not at all.
You have to live and breathe it
You got to live it
every day.
every day.
Yeah. And he says that succession planning
Yeah.
isn't just about finding someone
Right.
with the right skills,
And experience
experience.
Yeah.
It's about finding someone who can carry the torch
of the why.
of the why.
Yeah.
Someone who can inspire others with that same passion
It's the same passion and purpose. Yeah.
that drove the founder.
Exactly.
And that makes me think about what Sinek said about Steve Jobs.
Oh, yeah.
He said that part of Jobs' success came from the fact that he was facing his own mortality.
It's a really interesting point, isn't it?
It is.
Because he knew his time was limited.
Right.
He was
right.
free from all those insecurities,
Right.
anxieties that a lot of leaders get caught up in.
Yeah.
He could focus solely on his vision.
On the why.
On the why, exactly.
Wow.
And he created something truly extraordinary because of it.
So facing our mortality
Yeah.
can make us more courageous,
I think so.
more focused,
More effective.
more effective in
Yeah.
pursuing our purpose.
It's a really powerful idea.
It is. It's pretty deep.
It is deep.
Right.
Yeah.
But you don't need to have a near-death experience
No, not at all.
to tap into the power of your why.
Exactly. Exactly.
So besides strong leadership,
Mm-hmm.
are there other things that companies can do to avoid this split?
Yeah. Sinek suggests that they need to be really intentional
Oh,
about their hiring practices.
okay.
They need to look for people who are not only skilled and experienced,
Right.
but who also share the company's values and beliefs.
That's like we were talking about earlier. It's about building a tribe,
Building a tribe.
a community of people
Yeah.
who are all rowing in the same direction.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. And Sinek uses the analogy of a rowing team
Oh, yeah.
to illustrate this.
I love that analogy.
Right.
Yeah.
He says that a team of like mediocre rowers who
Mhm.
are perfectly synchronized and
Right.
aligned in their purpose
Yeah.
can outperform a team of individually talented rowers
Okay.
who are not rowing in the same direction.
Interesting. Yeah. Right.
It's not just about hiring the right people. It's about creating that culture
that culture. Yeah.
that supports and reinforces the why.
Exactly.
So that means, clear communication,
right.
recognizing rewarding behaviors
That align with the why.
that align with the why,
Yeah.
and creating opportunities for employees to connect with each other
Yes.
and with the company's mission.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So it's about creating an environment where people feel valued,
Empowered.
connected
to a shared purpose.
to a shared purpose.
Yeah.
I can see how all of this would apply to leaders as well.
Absolutely.
If you want to inspire people,
Yeah.
get them to buy into your vision,
Uh-huh.
you need to start with why.
You got to start with why.
Right.
Yep.
And this applies to all kinds of leadership.
Yeah. He says that we should be asking ourselves some really fundamental questions.
Like what?
Like, what brings me joy?
Hey.
What am I passionate about?
Okay.
What impact do I want to have on the world?
Mhm.
And even, what legacy do I want to leave behind?
Those are some big questions.
They are big questions.
Where do I even begin to answer those?
Well, it can feel overwhelming, but he suggests starting with what inspires you.
Okay.
Like, who are the people you admire?
Okay.
What are the causes you care about?
Uh-huh.
What are the problems you want to solve in the world?
Okay.
And think about those moments in your life
Okay.
when you felt the most alive, the most fulfilled,
Yeah.
the most connected to something bigger than yourself.
Okay.
Those moments often hold clues to your why.
I see. So it's like looking back at those moments
Exactly.
to try to figure out those patterns.
Yeah, those patterns, those themes
Yeah.
that run through your life.
So I'm starting to see how this applies to everything, like from choosing a career to building relationships to even making everyday decisions.
Absolutely, because if you can connect your actions
Mm-hmm.
to this deeper sense of purpose,
Okay.
you're much more likely to feel motivated
Right.
and fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me think about those people that
Love
love their job.
Yeah, they're so passionate.
They're so passionate about what they do.
It's contagious even.
It is.
Yeah.
Maybe they found a way to connect their work to their why.
I think that's a big part of it.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not just about finding that perfect job.
Right.
It's about finding ways to bring more meaning to your current work.
Oh. So finding those pockets of why
Exactly.
in our everyday lives.
Yeah, and it applies to relationships too.
Oh, yeah.
Think about the people that you feel most connected to,
Uh-huh.
the ones that like inspire you, energize you.
Right.
What is it about those relationships that makes them so special?
I'm guessing we share some similar values.
Values, beliefs.
Beliefs, goals.
Goals, exactly.
Yeah.
When we surround ourselves with people that resonate with our why,
Right.
we create that sense of belonging, that community that supports us.
Yeah.
Encourages us to be our best selves.
So this whole starting with why, it's not just a business strategy.
What's bigger than that?
It's like a philosophy.
It's a way of life.
For living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Exactly. Exactly.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
Good, I'm glad.
I feel like I have a whole new framework for thinking about my life, my work, the brands I support.
It's powerful stuff.
It is powerful.
Yeah.
And remember, finding your why is a journey, not a destination.
It's an ongoing process.
Right. It's self-discovery.
Reflection.
Refinement.
Exactly.
So keep asking yourself those big questions.
The big questions.
What brings me joy?
Yeah.
What am I passionate about? What impact do I want to have?
On the world.
On the world.
Yeah.
What legacy do I want to leave behind?
It's a good thing to think about.
It is a good thing to think about. And don't be afraid to let your answers guide you.
That's right. Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Yeah. So we've got all this material about Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
And his whole start with why concept.
Yeah, it's a...
we've talked about the biology, the psychology of decision-making.
Right.
But I'm curious, like, what really stood out to you in all of this?
Honestly, it's the idea that, like, so much of our decision-making is driven by emotion. Not logic.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought I was like a pretty rational person, but Sinek's examples like that babysitter one really made me realize that. Like gut feelings, they play a bigger role than I thought.
It's a powerful insight, right?
It is.
I mean, we often make decisions based on how something makes us feel. And then we try to rationalize it later.
Right.
And this is something that companies have been aware of for a long time.
Oh, yeah. It's like that saying, people buy on emotion and justify with logic.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Sinek argues that there's a difference between manipulating people's emotions and authentically connecting with their values and beliefs.
So how do you tell the difference?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Like, how can a company connect with my emotions in a way that feels genuine, not manipulative?
Yeah.
And Sinek suggests that it all comes back to the why.
Okay.
Companies that are clear about their purpose, their reason for being, you know, they're more likely to connect with customers on this deeper level.
Okay.
They're not just selling a product or service.
Right.
They're offering people a way to express their own values and beliefs.
That's what we were saying about Harley Davidson.
Right, exactly.
It's like those people that tattoo the logo on themselves, they're not just saying, I like motorcycles.
Yeah, it's a statement.
It's a statement. It's like, this is who I am.
This is who I am.
This is what I stand for.
Yeah, they're aligning themselves with a brand that embodies their own sense of identity and belonging.
And when companies can do that, that's powerful.
It's incredibly powerful. And think about Apple.
Yeah.
People stand in line for hours to get the newest products.
It's crazy.
It's not just about the features. It's about being a part of something bigger.
Right.
Something that represents these values they believe in.
So as a consumer, I should be more aware
I think so.
of the why
Yeah.
behind the brands I support.
It's a good practice.
Like, ask myself, what does this brand stand for?
Yeah. What are they about?
Does it align with my own values?
Exactly. Yeah. Becoming more aware of the why can help you make more conscious choices, I think.
Right.
Both as a consumer and as an individual.
Okay.
You know.
Now, Sinek also talked about how hard it is to maintain that authenticity as a company grows.
Especially as a company grows.
He called it
split.
The split.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I think that needs a little more explanation.
Yeah, I feel like we glossed over that a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So the split is basically what happens when a company loses sight of its original why as it grows.
Okay.
The focus shifts to things like profits.
Right. Market share.
Market share, internal processes.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Right.
And the original passion, the purpose that fueled the company's success, it starts to fade.
And we can probably think of a few companies
I'm sure.
that have fallen into this trap.
Oh, yeah.
Companies that used to be so innovative and exciting.
Yeah, they've lost their spark.
They've lost their spark.
Yeah.
Maybe their product is still good,
right.
but you don't get that sense of excitement.
That magic is gone.
Yeah, the magic is gone.
Yeah. You don't feel like they stand for something
right.
bigger than just making money.
Yeah.
And that's what Sinek is warning against.
Okay.
He's saying, look, starting with why,
right.
it's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process.
It's a journey.
It's a journey. You got to keep coming back to it.
Right, yeah.
Companies need to constantly remind themselves
right.
of their purpose.
Yeah.
Their reason for being.
Okay.
Make sure that it's reflected in everything they do.
So how can a company avoid the split?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Right.
It seems so easy to lose sight of that. Why?
As you get bigger.
Yeah, as you get more complex, more successful even.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But Sinek offers a few suggestions.
Okay.
First, he emphasizes the importance of leadership. Leaders need to be the champions of the why. They need to articulate it clearly,
right.
embody it in their own actions.
So it's not enough to just like have a mission statement?
No, it's got to be more than just words on a page.
Right. You have to live and breathe it.
You got to live it every single day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And he says that successful succession planning isn't just about finding someone with the right skills and experience.
Right. It's got to be more than that.
Right.
It's about finding someone who can carry the torch of the why.
Of the why, yeah.
Someone who can inspire others
right.
with that same passion and purpose.
That drove the founder.
That drove the founder, exactly.
And that makes me think about what Sinek said about Steve Jobs.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
He suggested that part of Jobs' success stemmed from the fact that he was facing his own mortality.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that a fascinating idea?
It is. It's a bit morbid, but
right.
yeah, I see what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because he knew his time was limited. He was freed from a lot of the insecurities and anxieties that hold so many leaders back.
Right.
He could just focus on his vision, his why.
Right.
And he created something truly extraordinary because of it.
So facing our mortality can make us more courageous.
I think so, yeah.
More focused.
More effective.
More effective in pursuing our purpose.
Yeah, it's kind of a powerful idea.
It is.
It is.
It's pretty deep.
It is deep.
But you don't have to have a near-death experience.
No, not at all.
To tap into the power of your why.
You can start right now.
So besides strong leadership, are there other things that companies can do to avoid this split?
Yeah. Sinek suggests that companies need to be really intentional about their hiring practices.
Okay.
You know, they need to look for people who are not only skilled and experienced, but who also share the company's values and beliefs.
It's like what we were saying earlier.
It is. It's about building a tribe.
Building a tribe, yeah.
Yeah, a community of people who are all rowing in the same direction.
Rowing in the same direction, yeah.
And Sinek actually uses a great analogy.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Of a rowing team.
Oh, I love that one.
To illustrate this point, he says that a team of mediocre rowers who are perfectly synchronized, aligned in their purpose, can outperform a team of individually talented rowers who are not rowing in the same direction.
That's a great analogy.
It really highlights the importance of shared purpose.
Shared purpose, yeah.
Everyone being on the same page?
Everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
And it's not just about hiring the right people. It's about creating that culture.
That culture, yeah.
That supports and reinforces the why.
Exactly. So that means clear communication.
Right.
Recognizing and rewarding behaviors that align with the why. Creating opportunities for employees to connect with each other.
Right.
And with the company's mission.
It's like creating an environment where people feel
valued, empowered. Connected to a shared purpose.
Yeah,
that's full stuff.
And I can see how all of this applies to leaders as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you want to inspire people to get them to buy into your vision, you got to start with why.
It's essential for leadership.
And this applies to all kinds of leadership.
I think so, yeah.
Whether you're leading a company, a team, a community.
Even just yourself. Yeah.
So how can I, as an individual, apply this concept to my own life?
That's a great question, and it's something Sinek talks about quite a bit.
Okay.
He encourages us to reflect on our own why, our core values and beliefs, and to use them as this guide for our decisions and actions in every area of our lives.
So it's about more than just, finding a job I like.
It's bigger than that, yeah.
It's about finding a career, a path.
A path that aligns with your purpose.
With my purpose, wow.
Yeah, and he says that we should be asking ourselves some fundamental questions.
Like what?
Like, what brings me joy?
Okay.
What am I passionate about? What impact do I want to have on the world?
Yeah.
What legacy do I want to leave behind?
Those are some big questions.
They're big questions, but they're worth asking.
Where do I even begin to answer those?
It can feel overwhelming, but he suggests starting with what inspires you.
Okay.
Like, who are the people you admire?
Okay.
What are the causes you care about? What are the problems you want to solve in the world?
Okay.
And think about those moments in your life.
Right.
When you felt the most alive, the most fulfilled,
the
most connected to something bigger than yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Those moments often hold clues to your why.
It's like looking back.
It is, yeah.
At those moments.
Looking for those patterns.
Yeah, the patterns, the themes that run through your life.
Yeah, the threads that connect it all.
Okay, yeah.
And so I'm starting to see how this applies to everything.
Straight to
like from choosing a career to building relationships to making everyday decisions.
If I can connect those actions to my why, it's more likely that I'll be, motivated, fulfilled.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes me think about those people that just
love their jobs.
Love their jobs.
They're so passionate about what they do.
Yeah, their passion is contagious.
It is contagious.
It really is.
Yeah, I think they found a way to connect their work to their why.
Their work to their why, right.
Yeah, and it's not just about finding that perfect job.
Okay.
It's about finding ways to bring more meaning to your current work.
So finding those pockets of why.
Exactly in our everyday lives.
In our everyday lives.
And this applies to relationships, too.
Oh, yeah.
Think about the people that you feel most connected to.
Right.
The ones that inspire you, that energize you.
Right.
What is it about those relationships that makes them so special?
I'm guessing we share some similar values.
Values, beliefs, goals.
Yeah.
When we surround ourselves with people who resonate with our why, we create this sense of belonging, this community that supports us, encourages us to be our best selves.
So this whole starting with why thing.
It's more than just a business strategy.
It's a philosophy.
It's a way of life.
For living a more meaningful
and fulfilling life. Exactly.
I like that.
Yep.
This has been an eye-opening deep dive.
Good. I'm glad.
I feel like I have a whole new framework for thinking about my life, my work.
It's powerful stuff.
The brands I support.
It is. It's powerful stuff.
And remember, finding your why is a journey.
Yeah, it is a journey.
Not a destination.
Not a destination, yeah.
It's an ongoing process of self-discovery.
Of reflection. Refinement.
Refinement, yeah.
Yeah.
So keep asking yourself those big questions.
Big questions, yeah.
What brings me joy?
Yeah.
What am I passionate about? What impact do I want to have on the world?
It's a good thing to think about.
It is a good thing to think about.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to let your answers guide you.
That's right. Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
So we've talked a lot about the theory behind start with why, but, let's bring it to life with some real world examples.
Yeah, I like that.
Simon Sinek uses so many compelling stories in his work.
He does.
And I think they really help to illustrate how this concept plays out.
Okay, yeah.
In practice.
I'm thinking about those Apple fans we mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that camp out overnight.
Right.
To get the newest iPhone.
Yeah. What is it about Apple
that
inspires that kind of devotion?
Yeah.
It's a great example, right?
Yeah.
Remember we talked about Apple's why? Yeah. Challenging the status quo.
Right.
Empowering individuals.
Right.
It's not just a slogan.
Right.
It's woven into the fabric of their company culture.
Okay.
And it shows up in everything they do.
Yeah, like their product design.
Exactly.
So sleek.
It's minimalist, user-friendly.
User-friendly.
It's almost like they're saying, technology should be beautiful and intuitive.
Right.
It shouldn't be intimidating or complicated.
And that resonates with me.
Yeah.
I'm not a techie.
Right.
But I've always found Apple products to be pretty easy to use.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And their marketing campaigns often focus on, emotions and aspirations.
Right.
Not just features and specs.
Right. Like those Think Different ads.
Yes, exactly.
Iconic.
They were celebrating creativity. Individuality, the power of ideas.
Yeah.
They were inviting people to be a part of something bigger.
It's like they're selling a lifestyle.
A mindset.
Yeah.
Not just a product.
Mindset, yeah.
And it's not just about marketing.
Right.
It's about a genuine commitment to their why.
Oh.
Apple invests heavily in research and development.
Right.
They foster a culture of innovation.
Right. Yep.
They empower their employees to think outside the box.
Right.
Their why is evident in everything they do.
Right.
And that creates this strong sense of loyalty among their customers.
So Apple's a great example of a company that starts with why.
Yeah.
But what about individuals?
Oh, for sure.
Does this concept apply to people too?
Absolutely. Think about Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
He didn't just talk about the need for civil rights.
Right.
He articulated this powerful why.
Okay.
A dream of a society.
Right. Yeah.
Where people are judged by the content of their character.
Yeah.
Not the color of their skin.
Powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
And that why resonated with millions of people.
It did.
It inspired them to join the civil rights movement.
Right.
Fight for equality.
It wasn't about specific policies or tactics?
No, it was about this shared belief
right.
in a better future.
Yeah.
A more just and equitable society.
And that's what gave the movement its power.
That's shared why.
That shared why, yeah.
Exactly.
So finding your why can be about more than just personal fulfillment.
I think so.
It can be about making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Inspiring others to create positive change.
Absolutely. Think about the environmental movement.
Okay.
It's not just about, reducing carbon emissions.
Right.
Or protecting endangered species.
It's bigger than that.
It's about this belief in the importance of preserving our planet for future generations.
For future generations, yeah.
And that belief has inspired so many people to change their behavior, advocate for policy changes, demand a more sustainable future.
Those are some pretty inspiring examples.
They are inspiring.
But what about those of us that aren't,
Yeah.
Trying to start a movement or change the world?
Yeah, what about the everyday stuff?
The everyday stuff, how does this start with why apply to our everyday lives?
Great question. And remember how we talk about the limbic brain?
Yeah.
How our emotions drive our decisions?
Yeah.
Well, this applies to everything.
Okay.
The career we choose, the relationships we build, even the purchases we make.
So if I'm feeling unfulfilled in my job, maybe it's because it's not aligned with my why.
It's certainly worth considering.
Right.
If your work doesn't tap into your passions, your values, your sense of purpose, it's natural to feel unmotivated or disengaged.
That makes me think about those people
that
just seem to love their job.
Yeah, you can just tell.
You can just tell.
They're so passionate.
Yeah, their passion is contagious.
It is contagious.
Yeah.
It's like they've found a way to connect their work to this deeper sense of purpose.
Their work to their why.
To their why, exactly.
Yeah.
And, it's not just about finding that perfect job.
Right.
It's about finding ways to bring more meaning to your current work.
So finding those pockets of why in our everyday lives.
Yeah, in everything we do.
It applies to our relationships too.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Think about the people you feel most connected to, the ones that inspire you, energize you.
Yeah.
What is it about those relationships that makes them so special?
I'm guessing it's because we share similar values and beliefs.
Values, beliefs, goals.
Goals, yeah.
When we surround ourselves with people that resonate with our why, we create that sense of belonging, that community that supports us, encourages us to be our best selves.
So this whole start with why thing, it's not just a business strategy.
No, it's bigger than that.
It's a philosophy for living a more meaningful
and fulfilling
life.
It's a way of life.
Wow, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I feel like I have a whole new framework for thinking about my own life, my work, the brands I support.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
And remember, finding your why is a journey.
It's a journey, right?
Not a destination.
Not a destination.
It's an ongoing process.
Of self-discovery, reflection.
Refinement. Keep asking yourself those big questions.
Yeah.
What brings you joy?
Right.
What are you passionate about?
What impact do I want to have on the world?
What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Don't be afraid to let your answers guide you.
That's all right. Trust your gut.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with me today.
It's been my pleasure.
This has been an amazing conversation.
I'm so glad you found it valuable.
I really have.
It's been fun to dive into this with you.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, and for everyone listening, remember, starting with why is not just a good idea.
Yeah.
It's the key to unlocking your full potential.
Right.
And creating a life that is both meaningful and impactful.
I love that. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.